Oklahoma state legislature has approved a bill to make abortion a felony in that state. Now, if it becomes law, doctors who perform abortions could face up to 10 years in prison and a $100,000 fine. This is one of a series of anti-abortion measures that would take effect around the country if the Supreme Court allows them to. Janet Shamlian is in Oklahoma City with more on this story. Janet, good morning to you.
Gail, good morning to you. Oklahoma's abortion clinics have been caring for women from both Oklahoma.
I'm gonna be honest, this shit is so bad. Republicans are straight up saying any opportunity that deviates attention away from state politics and local politics to just implement some of the most insane measures at the state level, like just straight up violation of the Constitution. Like, this is like if every Democratic majority state legislature decided, like, if you have a gun, you are going to get shot on the street. You know what I mean? If you have a gun, we will arrest you. We will take your gun away from you forcibly. Like, it's no different than that.
Oklahoma and Texas. Since last September, that's when Texas enacted its own sweeping abortion law. And Planned Parenthood here in Oklahoma says patients from Texas have increased 800% since that time. Now women from both states may have to travel hundreds of miles just for basic reproductive care.
Keep your hands off our bodies!
Protesters outside the Oklahoma Capitol Tuesday.
It is a dark day in Oklahoma.
After the Republican-controlled House passed a law banning abortions in the state, resoundingly 70-14.
If you want to get elected, you want to be pro-life. That's the reality in this state.
Oklahoma's bill is the latest in a series of anti-abortion laws passed by Republican-led state governments, including one in Mississippi, currently before the Supreme Court. If upheld, it would overturn Roe v. Wade. Right now, 21 states have laws on the books that would ban most abortions if Roe is overturned. 5 others would likely follow suit.
These laws are doing exactly what they've been designed to do, right? To make abortion providers fearful.
Rebecca Tong is the co-executive director of Trust Women, which runs one of Oklahoma's 4 remaining abortion clinics.
What I'm scared of is that people will not be able to make a decision that fits their life. And it will change the course and direction of their life because of it.
8 more anti-abortion bills are currently making their way through the
Kansas is like, yo, let's go.
Oklahoma legislature. And the governor, Kevin Stitt, says he is prepared to sign all of them.
Up next.
Nate, back to you.
Up next, Kansas.
Janet, thank you.
What is this, good news? I mean, not really. That's Colorado, dude. The f are you going to do if you're a woman in Oklahoma? How are you going to go to the Colorado, dude? This shit is so disgusting. I don't know how else. I don't know what to say other than just like it's just unacceptable. And I'm going to talk about the most normal pro-life activist. Okay, but here, Oklahoma House has passed the near total abortion ban.
Well, Oklahoma is set to become the latest state to pass a near total ban on abortion procedures. House Bill 4327, as it's called, is waiting for a vote in the state Senate before making its way to the governor's desk. If signed, it would be one of the strictest anti-abortion bills in the country. NBC News Now correspondent Maura Barrett joins us now from the State House in Oklahoma City. Maura, good morning. First, walk us through exactly what is in this bill and what are both sides saying about it.
Well, Vicki, this bill would ban all abortions right after conception, with the exception in 2 cases: if the mother's life is at risk or if the pregnancy was a result of sexual assault or incest, and those incidents have been reported to law enforcement. And so, as we know, there's a lot of hesitation from women about reporting those kind of incidents. So this is going to limit abortions extremely to an extent that we haven't seen before in other states. And so anti-abortion activists are really excited about this. They're calling it a win, and they're already mapping out their strategy state by state as we look at Roe v. Wade being reconsidered by the Supreme Court this summer. But meanwhile, clinic providers, healthcare providers that conduct abortions are saying that this is just overwhelming facilities, and it also just forces women to travel to states where abortion is allowed. And this means that it's only becoming available to people who can afford to travel, get childcare if they need it, take time off work. And so it's really just forcing women into a more unsafe procedure if it's limited in their states. And so this is something that is on the table here in Oklahoma, but it's also one of at least 7 other bills right now in the state.
That was my next question. Just last year, we talked about Texas, which is right next to Oklahoma. They passed a near complete ban on all abortions in Texas, and that is having a serious impact on medical providers as well in those neighboring states, not to mention the women, as you mentioned, who will now have to travel to get this procedure. What are you hearing from healthcare providers about the rise in patients who are crossing state lines? You know, what kind of effect did the Texas law already have there in Oklahoma?
Well, the Texas law was passed back in September, and since then, Texas saw a 60% drop in abortions. But data from the University of Texas at Austin shows that 1,400 women a month left the state to get abortions elsewhere. That's 12 times more than the abortions that were happening before, and they're going to places like Oklahoma, half of them, in fact, coming here to Oklahoma, and these clinics are just overwhelmed. I want to hear from the medical director at Trust Women Clinic that we spoke to here.
In Kansas and Oklahoma, we're kind of living in what is almost like a post-Roe environment. The sheer volume of people is remarkable. We've had to adjust our phone systems, adjust how we schedule people, adjust our patient caps, and also really pace ourselves for sustainability. We could truly be providing abortions 24 hours a day and not meet the needs of people who already access our clinic.
Remember that time and time again, empirical evidence shows that shutting off access to reproductive health services for women doesn't actually stop abortions. It just makes abortions less safe, because ultimately the pregnant mother is responsible for the life inside of them if they want it to become a life, and therefore can stop it with what is known as back alley abortions, which are very dangerous and can cause permanent damage to the woman. That's kind of the point. You're not stopping abortions ever. You're just making it harder, and therefore you're killing women and you're giving them permanent scarring. So really dumb and really cruel to push for this. Of course, also, rich people will always be able to get abortion. So there's that too. Why are they okay with abortion if it's rape, incest, etc., but not with consensual sex? Aren't you killing a baby regardless? Yeah. It is intellectually consistent, at least in Alabama, say, no, even if you have a child, you still have to carry that to term because, still a life, right? That doesn't matter, because it's not. Nobody sees it that way.
Now, some states are working to combat this state-by-state approach. Colorado, for example, just passing a bill that protects the right to abortions in the state, which would give the ability for people to safely travel to Colorado, for abortions in restricted states like Oklahoma or Texas.
They would argue it's God's will. Yeah, well, I can't tell you what I wish God would do to those people. So, because if I did, I would probably get, but inshallah, one day they will see a fraction of the suffering that they have caused.